Hey guys, welcome back to Cat Views. So today I'm going to be doing a review on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre film that just dropped on Netflix quite recently. Um, now, I wasn't going to do a review for this film. I'm going to be honest with you guys because it's fucking terrible. But look, at the end of the day, each to their own. So if you actually have watched the film already and you liked it, then that's cool for you. Um, I'm not going to judge you. eh, if you liked it. But I didn't like it. So I'm going to talk about my experience with it, my opinions, my thoughts. And it's pretty much going to be a rant because there's really not much that I could think of that's good that I can say about this film, unfortunately. And it's like, this is the thing. I wanted it to be good. But I think most people that are horror fans and specifically a fan of the franchise, like, we've seen some bad films, but every franchise has, its moments. Like, it's not like any franchise is perfect. So you have like this hopeful, cautious, optimism, I think. Because if you're really a true horror fan, you really do want it to be good. Unfortunately, though, it was not. So I'm gonna try and keep this short and sweet or salty, and get through it as quick as I can and not like go on too much. So I'm gonna be straight up. I don't know any of these actors. I don't think there's any name talent in here that I know. But in saying that, like there's no one famous. There's no one like really big in this film. Um, it did drop on Netflix. But in saying that, there's been plenty of Netflix films where they've had name talent in there. So this does not have that. There's not one actor that I know. Also, 99%, 98% of the cast is basically young people. So, like, for me, I mean, I'm like 33, but I like to watch older actors. I watch films with actors generally that I grew up with. So, your Tom Hanks, your Robert De Niro's, your Meryl Streep's, like older actors, the OGs, if you will. So, I like to watch, serious dramatic pieces like that. In horror, you don't find you don't really find Tom Hanks in horror movies, but like so with horror, I'm a bit more lenient in what I'm my expectations because generally those actors again aren't there. But they are usually in suspense thrillers or supernatural horrors. So there's many genres of horror. The slasher gore sort of horrors, not so much. But I always used to like, and I still do love the teenage slasher horror films. Um, but again, there's no one in this film that I recognize. So generally, if there's a new actor up and coming that is, I want to say below the age of like 35, I'm probably not going to know who they are. But that doesn't mean that they're not going to be good or impress me or anything like that. I forget her name. Mackenzie something Grace, I think. The girl from Haunting of Hill House, she was in the new Ghostbusters. She was really cool, and she's quite young. But yeah, generally, there's not really many that impress me. Millie Bobby Brown's another one. I like her so far. Um, but no one that I knew in this film. However, I will put up like screenshots of the actors that I feel did a good job acting wise. Now, this doesn't mean that the script was good. I just think that they, in their own independent performance, were good and worthy of like, basically making the best of it as they could. Now, I didn't even remember the characters' names. This is how much I didn't like this film. Didn't give a shit. They were unlikable characters. The story wasn't there. The writing wasn't there. So this was a quick film. It was a short film. So that's actually a positive about it because it was quite short. And there wasn't a dramatic build up with the characters. Now, in if you've watched the other Texas Chainsaw films, they give you like 4 or 5 teenage sort of college student looking characters, usually going on some sort of road trip to Texas, and they go to this country town, and fucked up shit happens. We know the story. So, um, this is basically a direct sequel from the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, where there was only one survivor, which is Sally Hardesty, and they bring her back for this. Now, so it's the it's the same concept, except in this film that first one existed, and so the initial start of the film shows you that, and they talk about it and introduce you to like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, dun dun dun, and then like you see these kids in the grocery store like sort of seeing it on TV and like asking a few questions, blah blah blah. Whereas in other films, like it was like not even known, and it was I think that's what actually made it more scary. it was so weird to me that they watch this stuff on TV. Like it was just, and it's like the new like generation where they don't give a fuck about anything. And it's so annoying because it's just like, fuck's sake, like, and they're watching this stuff, and then they ask this guy questions, and he's like, Sally survived, and she's been wanting to kill him for like 40 years, but like, he wore a mask, so she couldn't find him. And I'm like, really, how big is this place that she couldn't find him? Like, for realsies. But anyway, whatever. And he's just like chilling in town, whatever. Anyway, um, I find it hard to believe in a small town like that she became a ranger, and it took her 40 years, and it took a bunch of stupid teenagers to rock up for her. Anyway, whatever. There's a lot of stupid things. I could just make a whole list. But yeah, I feel like that was just silly, but like whatever. The actress that plays Sally Hardesty is not the original actress from the original film. She passed away, so they had to recast for Sally Hardesty. Whereas in the Halloween Kills like sort of franchise, the remakes of Halloween, with Jamie Lee, it's the original actress. She originally played Laurie Strode, and it's got those vibes here. I'm not gonna lie to you, like it's got that. It really did. And before this came out, I said, she's gonna be like Laurie Strode, because Sally Hardesty didn't do fucking shit in the first film, basically. Like, she was just screaming her head off. Like, she pissed me off, and I did not like the original film. I know that, like, I know people are gonna hate on me for that, but, like, I'm not a big fan, generally, of original horror films. I grew up with, like, 90s horror, 2000s horror. That's what I grew up on. Some of the horror that most people would say is the worst horror, I love it. I love that sort of cheese. But I can't do with extreme amounts of stupidity and really unlikable characters, like all of them. And in every one of these franchises, there are stupid douchebag characters. There's a jock, there's a stupid cheerleader, bimbo, or best friend. Like they exist. They usually get killed, and you actually kind of enjoy it. But there's story, there's good writing, hopefully, there's good acting, and there's scares. Like it's generally genuinely scary. This wasn't scary. Um, it was like themed to be. I feel like I saw what they were trying to go for, but again, a lot of it felt really recycled to me because I've seen so many of these films and other films like it, if not in this specific franchise. But this franchise has a lot of films that you can also reference, much better than this one. For me, I didn't, like I said, I didn't like the original film. I think it's a better film than this one purely because it was directed and written way better. And for what it was in its time, there's a reason why the whole franchise started with that film. And I'm sure I can imagine in that day and age, it would have shocked and completely terrified audiences because it was something that hadn't been done, as far as I know, on screen before like that, to have this like deranged family. And because this is different, but in the original you have the deranged family, and everything's corrupted, there's nowhere you can go, they basically have the town, and that would be terrifying. Like um that would be completely terrifying, and it was. So that at least had, it was scary, and it was twisted, and it had good writing, and it had good twists, like when you see like the dead grandmother, I think it was, at the table, like it was, if like that person that was like a vamp, it was like twisted, and it was just, there was so much about that original film that I think was so shocking to audiences, not just Leatherface. And that's what's interesting about the whole franchise. And throughout the years, you've seen them experiment with, the family, with just Leatherface. I can't remember which one they did where they really focused in on Leatherface. It was, I don't know, I can't remember. It was a while ago. So many films. But my personal favorite, to be honest with you, is the actual 2003 remake, the Jessica Biel remake. That was my favorite film. I know a lot of people really love the remake, but still love the original better. For me, it was the remake, and I actually really enjoyed the beginning as well, which was actually came after that chronologically, but it was a prequel. Um, so yeah, the franchise has been pretty scattered like most franchises, but in this one, like I said, you follow this group of kids. Basically, they're driving into town. They want to sort of revamp it and create it, and build there and whatever. And it's basically like deserted, and so they want to buy it and like convert it and blah blah blah. It's honestly like the story is not deep. It's not even worth explaining it. The characters are not interesting. The chemistry wasn't there with any of them. There's two relationships. So there's a boyfriend and girlfriend, or his wife, I think. No, they were gonna get married. Didn't feel any chemistry with them. Minimal scenes together actually. Before basically they get killed. And again, it was a very fast. Like it progressed pretty quickly. Um, and then there was two sisters that looked nothing alike at all, didn't look related. And I didn't feel the acting specifically from one of them, which is really annoying because she's the one who has survived, which is the younger sister. Super fucking annoying. It's like, if you're gonna have like a final girl, have one that's a good actress, for fuck's sake. Like, I just didn't feel it. The same way I didn't feel it with Sally Hardesty in the original. It was so fucking annoying. I mean, honestly, even in the original, there's other characters I would have picked to survive other than Sally. But, that sort of started this sort of final girl uh, path for her, and I want to say Laurie Strode, really started that, and it led to things like Scream and, I Know What You Do Last Summer, and all these franchises where then there was a female who just survived. So again, it paved the way for many, many horror films like it. Um, but one of the things that, again, those other horror films did that didn't happen in this film, which is just the stupidity in this film. That's just something I can talk about. Is like, in classic horror films, zombie films, any like Scream, again, perfect example. You double tap. So at the end of this film, after all this fuckery that they go through of hiding and this and that, like they basically try and kill him, these two sisters, because they're the only ones left alive, basically, and then they just fuck it up and then just like walk away. And I'm like, wouldn't you, if you have this chainsaw and you have all this anger on your face and you're finally done and you've lost your shit, wouldn't you fucking put it right through him? Like, make sure he's dead. But like, she didn't, so then she ended up decapitated, which that's what you get. But yeah, I know this is a rant. It's not really a like review in it's not like I would normally break things down slowly in parts, but like I'm just going off whatever's coming to my head at this point because it's really not worth talking about. Um yeah, he's basically been held up at an orphanage, which makes no fucking sense. No sense. Like, again, with horror films, you have to have a certain amount of imagination where you put logic in a box and you just push it aside and you're like, nope, no logic. I'm just gonna numb brain watch this, brain numb watch this. Because you have to, because it makes no fucking sense. And if you watch it like if you're someone like me who looks at details and is analytical and is like practical and like a realist, horror films are probably not for you because it's really fucking hard to watch them and be like, that seems legit. It's not. Um, there are so many things about this film that are fucking stupid. First thing, the guy that gets cleaved to the face and ends up looking like the chicken mirrors, unrealistic. He would be dead from the blood loss. Like, I mean, maybe there's a 1% chance he would have survived. He certainly would not be walking around and just, no. So I think that he would have been dead from the actual blood loss and trauma to his face. But that's just my opinion. Second stupid fucking thing is not a kill. It's, well, the chick in the van, pretending to be dead. I like that. I kind of liked all of that. I thought that was pretty good. The whole wrist snap thing was ridiculous. Excessive. I mean, Leatherface is supposed to be like 80 years old. Did I not mention that? Oh, sorry, right. Leatherface is like 80 years old. Like 80. At least late 70s, right? And I know people are going to be like, oh, there's a lot of people in their 70s who are very active, blah, blah, blah. No, bitch, no. Like, no. There's no way you're picking up that heavy ass chainsaw, these mallets, like, popping out of the water like a fucking shark. Like, no. No. Like, and then also the fact that he was at this orphanage with an old lady. And I'm like, how? Like, how? Is she still alive, even? Like, how are you 80? She's like, what, 90 something? Like, how? And she didn't. That's the thing also. She didn't look like that. She looked probably about his like age or younger. And I was like, this makes no sense. Because if you ran an orphanage, you would have been, what, 25 at least? So you would be significantly older than him. Like she would have been pushing over 100 at this point. It makes no sense. Like no sense. So I was like, okay, I have to pretend this makes sense. So there was a lot of that, and I did try really hard. Um, but there was a point in this film where I legit threw my phone and I gave up. It would have been about maybe six minutes left of the film. Yeah, I want to say 6 minutes left of the film. Without including post credit probably. But yeah, so he was at this orphanage the whole time, and again, I find it very hard to believe that Sally Hardesty has been living in this area and just didn't fucking know where he was. But whatever, maybe like because I don't know. It made no sense because she was a ranger of that town. Like if it was all of fucking Texas, I'd be like, all right, yeah, Texas is a big fucking place. But like the guy in town mentioned that she was a ranger specifically, so I was like, like no, it makes no sense. Um, so yeah, first stupid thing was probably the wrist snap, then the cleaver guy, the fact that the old lady was still alive, even the fact that he was there and Sally didn't even find him. Um, what else? The teenagers with the phones, so stupid. Excessive bus scene kills. I liked it. I liked the first like minute of it. The rest of it was so stupid. I mean, you can't open a bus window. Like then she opens it. She finally opens it. Like everyone's just sitting there banging. I'm like, really? Like if someone's got a chainsaw, I'm gonna kick that shit in. Like, no. And also, where's that emergency? Like, how buses have like an emergency break glass thing? Like that doesn't exist. But then you actually see it's not necessary anyway because she actually slides a window open. And I was like, what? These windows don't open? It's a prison bus? Like, makes no sense. Like, it was so stupid. There was just so much stupid shit that was put in there to, to let the audience get, to have these kills, to have this massacre happen. And I was like, that's not really how it should be. I mean, yes, we like gory, we like kills, we like stupid people getting killed, annoying teenagers getting killed, for sure, but like, give a good reason. At least give a chase, give something. Like, make it look believable for fuck's sake. Because no group of teenagers, especially a group of them, like they didn't even try and do anything. Anyway, so yeah, this chick tries to like open the window and it just gets like chainsawed in half. Visually looked cool, but like so stupid. Um, so stupid. The whole reaction of all the teenagers as well, like the fact that you see someone, like if I was in a like ghost town and I saw someone's face cleaved hanging off, I would be out. I'd be like fucking start. I would start the bus. I would kick that stupid guy out of the bus seat, and I would start the bus and I'd drive the fuck out of there. I don't care who's in the bus with me. I'd peace out. Bye. See you later. I would not. I wouldn't be like, don't open the door. What are you doing? And then just sit there staring at the door, waiting for his head to fucking be thrown in. So stupid. Um, I liked when the chick hid under the bed. I thought that was legit. I liked that they didn't put anything super cheesy in there, like making her phone ring or like just something really stupid and like obnoxious for the audience to see that we've seen so many times. Um, I liked that scene extended. I liked that she went from the closet to the bed. Um, I didn't like when she finally escaped because I think when that guy came in, um, she had a point in time when like he had him up against the window and she could have just skedaddled under the bed and just ran. Like she's agile, she's fast, like she could have just gone. And I feel like at that point she should have left. So that kind of bothered me that she didn't leave at that point. I felt like, again, there were certain scenes like the bus scene, that scene, where it just went just too long. um and I feel like if they just left it short and sweet, it would have actually been acceptable. Not great. Nothing was great in this film, not one thing, but it was acceptable. It was like watchable. The point where I quit was when Sully comes back to save the girls, basically, and she gets fucking, and that was a cool sequence, by the way. I enjoyed her kill. Um, when he just like fucking just runs and he's like he's doing the like the like thing that he does. That's I love that shit. That looks so cool. I like that they put that in there. But he's like running and doing that, and then like she does a twist and she tries to shoot him and she cocks the gun and there's nothing in the barrel and she fucks up. She stabs him. It's not enough, and he chainsaws her through the fucking stomach to the point. Right? So initially, first of all, she would be dead. The moment that chainsaw started twisting around, your organs are gone. You're done. Dunsky. You are not surviving a chainsaw through the gut. It does not exist. But then it went as far as to, he then lifted her up above ground, like up to his head, above his head. And he's just holding her there. And she like gives him this final look. And then he just, and he just chainsaws the fuck out of her to the point where he throws her off the chainsaw into the trash. Like trash. They did Sally dirty. um, so she just went out like trash. And then, right, so she's dead, right? Chainsawed like fucking chainsawed, because, it's a chainsaw. Nope. No, she didn't die. No, she came back. One last hurrah and shot him to save the girl, who then got killed anyway. But like to save the girls. What? I fucking threw my phone. I was done. I'm done. I was like, I'm done. Nope. That's the level of ridiculousness is unmatched, as I tweeted. That was too much for me. I can do realm of unlikely possibility. I cannot do realm of complete fucking possibility. That was insane. No. So I could not do it. Yeah, it was just too much. And there was just stuff like that, like I said, that is what you're going to be watching if you watch it. I mean, my reviews, rants, they contain all the spoilers. Like, some people will watch my reviews and then still go watch the film after knowing pretty much all about it, but all the main spoiler points. But if you can do that, cool. But this is what you're gonna actually see that. So I'm just letting you know. You will actually see someone be chainsawed and then survive a chainsaw to the guts. Yep. So that's the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022. I read on Twitter that the director hopes to make a sequel. And I laughed. I laughed a lot. Like, aha, that kind of laugh. Like, no, no. Please no. Please no. What they should have done is made another version of the 2003 remake. They should have brought Jessica fucking Biel back, because say what you want about that shit was fucking terrifying. Seeing him come out with your boyfriend's face on, I mean, and my favorite scene in that fucking it was so good. The van, the fucking chandelier kill, sick, so sick. It had the perfect amount of like character development, story, gross fucking gore slasher shit, and like terrifying, like suspense. It was actually terrifying for me when I first saw that. The Jessica Biel in the meat locker, the freezer, that shit was sick. And again, one could argue and be like, oh, you would have seen her legs. Like, there's always, you gotta try and take it out. But that was a lot more for me, way more believable and done better, directed better, cinematography was better, acted better, like performed better. It was more believable than this. Like, this was just overtly ridiculous, and they didn't even try not to be. And I was like, what am I watching? So, yeah, for the most part, I did not like pretty much any of this. There was a bit of the acting I liked. I liked the chick in the van, when she gets slowly stabbed, and like I liked how she had a tear just after she died. That was cool. Um, the fact that he put on her face, his mum's face, to try and make her, oh, that was fucking weird. So that's, I mean, as twisted as I guess it's gonna get, really, in this sort of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Because again, if you go to the original, there's a lot of twisted shit. That's as twisted as they made this, but that's not really that twisted, to be fair, if you know Leatherface, the character. Makes total sense. I mean, she took care of him till he was fucking 80. But yeah, I'm gonna stop ranting at 25 minutes. That's a long ass rant. I apologize if anyone ever watches this, gets through it. Thanks for watching. And I don't know if you want to watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Good luck to you. Let me know what you think in the comments. See you later, guys.